Hello and welcome back to another legendary episode of the one and only Speculation Alley. It's your boy A-Bomb, and of course with me, as usual, is my brother from another mother, Crypto Dilly. What's going on, man?
What is going on, dude? I just had a visitor from the outside pop into the studio there for a second.
Oh yeah? How was that? Well, the aliens? Did you see the UFOs drop down?
No, dude, it was a coda from the other
Oh,
side.
sweet. Right, obviously, Kodas. All right, well, aside from Kodas and the Gucci Koda, necklace and all that good stuff, what are we going to be talking about today?
I think we jump right into it, talking about Wagmi-san and where in this space of time that he is and where we foresee the story going. So before I give you my perspective on it, do you want to fill the audience in about where this actually comes from?
Yeah, sure. So essentially, last we saw Wagmi-san was standing, looking pretty fierce on the top of this building, and he was back. We hadn't seen him for quite some time. He re-entered, and then Puma dropped a piece of this comic book that showed Super Puma sort of hanging out with Wagmi-san in what seemed like New Tokyo, and they were reminiscent on old times, really. And then what happened was we see the whole Discord change. Like, it's a train now. The shopkeepers have different names, like, Coal Person and yada, yada, yada. And it seems like we're in a different time and a different place with Wagmi-san. If you go to 10ktf.com, the website's completely changed. We do not see floating New Tokyo anymore. Instead, we see what seems like a middle-aged Wagmi-san hanging out, and he's like, oh, these items look cool. Like, I'm really impressed by them. Let me see if I can do them justice and craft PFPs onto them. Ranga gets involved, yada, yada, yada. So where are we in the timeline? And what I want to shout out is Konop, because essentially what Nop was saying was that, we have the teaser that what happened last summer is coming this winter. Where are we currently in our timeline of the seasons? We're in spring. So ideally, what Konop said was that in the first two quarters, which we're in right now, we're going to see this like early middle-aged Wagmi-san and sort of what he was doing in this desert. Then in the last two quarters, aka when fall and winter come, we will see essentially what happened last summer with Wagmi-san, which will actually be a piece that is led up to with this current storyline, which is middle-aged Wagmi-san. I hope that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And I think it's a perfect tee up for what I was thinking as far as like when we first saw Wagmi-san in the Dune Buggy, it had like some really interesting cuts and different takes as far as the way that the edit was. And the first thing that it made me think of is Quenton Tarantino. The way that he tells stories, it really like is encapsulated in the way that that edit is created. And it has like the Western like whips and like theme music and all that stuff, right? But with Quenton Tarantino, we know that like he likes to tell a story where it starts with like the end, and then you come in the middle of the story, and then it ships back to like another piece of the timeline to be able to piece everything together. So that way, right at the end of the story, you're able to piece everything together and actually come to that realization of, oh, that's what happened. And I think that's what we're getting teed up for this storyline, is that we've already seen Wagmi-san, when his shop got burnt down and his cap got murdered in the fire. And then we jump ahead to where present day is Wagmi-san in his shop and we're crafting items in New Tokyo. And now we're getting shipped back to basically like in the middle of the storyline where Wagmi-san is in this pop-up tent in the middle of the desert. And, there's a lot of unique items within the shop that we're also seeing. And so a lot of the community starts to speculate about like the different items that are placed around the shop as well, which is really intriguing. But one of the things that I found the most interesting about his new shop is that if you go to OpenSea and you look at the background where Wagmi-san is actually standing, you move him out of the way and there's like this crate or box or time machine basically just right in the background. And there's like a cord that's like going under the actual like curtains. And so it's like, what is that thing? Why is it in this place and time? And what is it used for? And so a lot of people are thinking like, oh, maybe that's like the portal maybe that's where Wagmi-san started to really like, you know, play with these different ideas and concepts. And another really interesting highlight too, and then I'll let you get in on this, is talking about like these different master craftsmen. At this point in the timeline, Wagmi-san in the prompts actually states that he is learning from other masters. And so I'm very curious to see what other people are going to be brought into the storyline to be able to actually teach Wagmi-san everything that he knows to become the world's greatest craftsman.
Well, that's a very interesting point and segue into one of the things I wanted to point out is like you see Super Puma already interacting with the current time Wagmi-san, like the elder version of him, and it leads me to believe that like obviously maybe Super Puma taught Wagmi-san something, maybe Wagmi-san taught Super Puma a few things. Like that's what friends do, right? They trade each other's tricks and like they help each other out. So I wouldn't be surprised if there is some sort of flashback or story told as far as Super Puma being one of those masters or friends that Wagmi-san learned a thing or two from. You know what I mean?
I think Super Puma, I wouldn't be surprised if we see one of these mega Kodas actually be like somebody that helped basically, you know, Wagmi-san come into his own, right? And I'm very curious to see because we're getting to the point where there is a convergence. I think that the Legends of Mara, that storyline is going to happen in tandem with this story of what happened last summer. Obviously, last summer, that story is going to be told with Super Puma as the narration kind of progresses. And then we know that with Super Puma that they use a time machine. So we could very well see Super Puma in future, you know, iterations or activations within the storyline with Yuga. But I think with Legends of Mara, that story happening, there's going to be a conflict or something that comes to a point where the stories blend together. And so we're thinking, obviously, like at the end of next winter, that these things will take place because of the speculation from Konop. And I think that he nailed that speculation. I think that is exactly what's going to take place. And I'm super excited for everything to unfold.
Yeah, same here. Shout out to Konop, legend. I think that's good, baby. I think we should wrap this bad boy up and let the people, go get some lunch or something. We want to say thank you very much for always watching and tuning in to our episodes that we release every Wednesday. Please subscribe, leave us your comments, let us know what you think of this content, and as well, come check out the weekly space that we host on Twitter through Speculation Alley's Twitter account every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We appreciate you coming. Have a good one. We're out. Peace.